Hello YouTube. So I had a couple of my buddies were doing some reloading for our rifles, and they wanted to know how to use this. It's the Hornady Cam-Lock case trimmer. That way you can trim your case links to where you need to be. As you can see, when you get the cases from Hornady, they're going to be a little bit taller than what you need to be. Now, the reason why you got to trim these case links at the beginning and pretty much whenever you want to reload is make sure it seats into the rifle correctly. That way you don't have a case that's too long. That way it won't chamber. So I'm going to go over how to use this. All right, to start off with the Hornady Cam-Lock case trimmer, I'm going to go over what it comes with. So it comes with these. These are the brass guides that go into the cutter. That goes into the mouth of the brass. That way it feeds in, it stays flush, and you get that perfect 90-degree angle. That way you don't have it all wonky side to side. Also comes with a Allen wrench key. That is to adjust the set screw right there so you can put in those case mouth guides. Now what it doesn't come with is your shell holders. Now, in order to have this compatible, you have to get the Hornady shell holders for the specific brass that you are going to be using. I'll go over how to set this up. All right, so first off, we got to get our correct shell holder in here. So to do that, you're going to hold, this is called the spindle. You're going to rotate this cam lock out all the way just before it comes off. And then you're going to take your shell holder, you're going to slide it into that notch, and then from there you're going to push it in until the O-ring seats, and then you're just going to tighten it up all the way. And you'll notice at the bottom you'll have this little piece of the spindle there. As you tighten this, this is actually going to push out, and that's what seats against the back of the primer hole, the flash hole, and that holds the brass inside the shell holder. Next, we're going to go over how to get the guide actually into the cutting head. Now, it's simple. There's a set screw here. You loosen up the set screw, take the specific one made for your caliber there, and then you take the Allen wrench and you're going to tighten up that set screw to the point where this doesn't come out. So if you pull it, the guide should not come out. Now, first off, you need to figure out where you need to set the spindle, what the length is. Because when you have this bottomed out all the way, you want to have this at a correct distance, close or far away from it, to where this will stop cutting the brass at a certain point, and that'll give you your correct distance. The easiest way to figure that out, I found, is you take your caliper, put in what your specific length is going to be, line it up on the edge there, and then you make a mark. As you can tell, I made a little mark there. From there, I'm going to use this as my test brass. I'm going to put it inside the cam-lock trimmer like so, and then I'm going to lock it down, and then I'm going to slowly trim off until I get to that point. Once I get close to that point, little by little, I do it every 2 turns of the cutter. I take it out and then I recalibrate it and see how close I am to the actual depth. Another thing that's good to do is, as you're trimming these, before you actually stick it back into the caliper, you can kind of see where I have that burring on the edge. You want to deburr it every single time before you do the caliper. That way you get an accurate adjustment. I now have this trimmed down to exactly where I need it. Now I'm going to set the spindle that way where whenever I take one out and put a new one in, I don't have to readjust it. So to start off, I'm going to back the cutter head out, and then I'm going to loosen up the spindle, press it in, and then from there, after you press it in, you should be able to move it. I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to put my brass, this is my standard brass, so this has my exact length that I need to go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ensure the adjustment knobs. Now these are from fine Newt. Now as you twist this in, as you can see, the cutter head comes out. So that's if you need to back it out a little bit and start it. You can set this to where you don't have to use the adjustment knobs. That's what I'm going to do here. All right, so this is as far that way as it'll go. So as I'm turning, it will never go any farther that way. So now I need to line up the spindle with the head so that when this is in its full position that way, the head is touching the brass. So at that point, that's exactly, now you need to make sure that the cam is locked in, because as you rotate this, this does change the distance of the brass. It can move the brass left or right. So double check it's in its all the way left position or its final cutting position. The brass is touching. So that is exactly where my spindle needs to be. So all I do is I tighten it up. And there you go. Now I can run through a bunch of different brass and get them all the same exact length. Go through a couple of these real quick. Again, I am not touching this lock. Just going to put the brass in, cam lock over. Before I tighten it, I'm going to make sure that's fed in all the way. I'm going to tighten it. As you can tell, this right here, this is not as far as it will go. It will continue to go that way because it is set. So now I'm just going to go in and do some cutting. All right, I'm about to the point where it's not going to cut anymore. So you're going to get that sound. So you're not going to feel it cutting. That means it's all the way in. So when I take this out, unlock the cam, and then deburr it, it will be the same length as this one. And that is your final product. The one on the left is the brass as you get it from Hornady, and the three on the right are the ones that I turned down to the correct case length for the load.